In this video, Daily Race A, I reenact a move that we saw at Spa in Formula 1. Daily Race B, I go for a very risky move at Brands Hatch. And in Daily Race C, well, all the cars come to a standstill. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gran Turismo Weekly Race Guide here in 2026, week 12. My word, we've got a very quick week this week in terms of speed. We are going extremely fast in Daily Race A, especially as we're in the Aston Martin Valkyrie at the Le Mans circuit. Yes, we are. So we're doing 3 laps here on Wheat Slipstream. It's a rolling start on racing medium tyres, and Bob is on for this one. You need to make sure you've got the overtake button mapped as well, because you really do need the overtake button. It's like a massive boost. It's like Formula 1 battery deployment, actually, and I'm sure that is a topic of discussion in itself. Now, if you don't want to do this daily race, there are some timestamps there to jump to Daily Race B or C respectively, because this daily race, well, the car is a bit of a handful if I do say so myself. Now, here are the key statistics. As always, with Daily Race A, we've done this track 7 times. It's 31st overall. We last used it last year, believe it or not, 24th of March. And in terms of issues, it has some very strange handling. I can't even express how strange some of this handling is. And the brakes sometimes don't work, because obviously if you brake in a straight line, that's 100% braking efficiency, you may be a bit wiggly, and then the brakes just stop working entirely and you go flying off to Narnia. Without further ado then, let's jump into this daily race and let's have a look exactly what happens. Right, here we are then at the start. We've got Huggy in pole position there. We're starting down in P number 9. And if you are enjoying this video, we won't just start of course, but give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the hype button if it's available too. Now, I noticed that I get a better start than max power. No idea why, so I hit the overtake button straight away here to make sure I get past max power before turn 1. Now, for this car, I did talk about it in the intro. You do have to brake very early there. We've got somebody off up in the distance. Going to go for a big crash into turn 1. We get on the inside then. Looking to try and go around the outside. Not going to quite work here. However, we do gain 4 positions, all said and done here, in the first chicane. Happy days indeed as we go towards the next braking zone. Looking to slow the car down here as we turn in. And you've probably seen a little bit of wiggle movements there happening in these cars as well. They just behave weirdly off throttle. It's very random indeed. We're going to go through Tetra Rouge then, on to the Mulsanne straight here then, and instantly onto the overtake button here, because I want to get past as quick as I can. So I go towards the left there. I can see Solly Mel doing the same sort of thing, just by the speed difference. So we go for a bit of bump drafting here. I come off the overtake button then, and we start harvesting some of that energy again on the brakes. Max power sent it down the inside there. Does get it stopped here as we go through the left-hander. I do keep the gap open there on the inside, because I did see that little send. Maybe a misjudgment of brakes, I'm not too sure, because Max Power's actually going to whack on the hazards up ahead. I assume that was an apology, but I think it was fine, to be honest with you, all said and done. So we go for, well, reminiscent of Spa in Formula 1 there, with an overtake on the inside and outside here with me and Ultra Salty Dan as we head towards the next chicane. Then we go onto the brakes. Dan backs out of that one then. And we're up to P4 now as we go through the chicane here, accelerating out of this corner. Instantly on the overtake button again, trying to make progress very quick here to get towards the front and hopefully go for the victory in this race. So you can see already here, Solly Mel not using that overtake button. We are, as we go towards that left-hand side, Slipstream helping a little bit here as well as we head towards Mulsanne corner, and onto the brakes we go. And unfortunately for me, we hit the brakes a little bit too late there, but we do get it stopped. It's only a tiny bit too late, and you can see that there, but we leave this corner back in 4th place. So that overtake usage was a big waste of time. Through Arnage we go then. We're going to go on the throttle here, and straight away I'm trying to get past Solid Mel before the Porsche curves. It's just so I've got a bit of free air, to be honest with you, and so I can take the curves at my own pace and nobody else's. So we do go up into P3 here. We're on lap number 2 now, and we're looking to catch up to P number 2 here, who is Chicken Snuzzle, which, is that a chicken nose? I have no idea. Anyway, we are in the Slipstream right now. I'm not using the overtake button here just to see the strength of Slipstream, which is very strong here in terms of it's on weak, but weak is strong, as you may or may not know. And we go up into P2 then as we advance to the second chicane here. Onto the brakes we go. Now, I was trying to harvest more energy, but it didn't really work. And as you see there, I ran very deep into the corner. So that was all on me, that one. Basically lifted to see if I could generate. It doesn't. It's only on the brakes. Anyway, the race ended after that, really. I was all on my own for the rest of the race. Huggy dominated it. Well played, Huggy. You were on fire this morning in that one then. 4 out of 8 in terms of the scores, and all the details of my scoring system is down below. You can probably guess the car is not the best choice in my opinion. Let's go into a lap guide here then at Le Mans. This is going to be quite a long one, so just bear with me. I'm using the overtake button straight away on this lap. Now, it's very critical to use the overtake button at certain points. So I go up to 6th gear and then I come off the overtake button because we're about to go on the brakes. Now, you could use a lap post on the right-hand side or the curve here as it starts to go straight. I'm using that as a bit of a reference point here. I want to go on the brakes before that happens when it goes straight, okay? I'm going to hit the brakes. It's better to brake early for this one and prepare the exits than to try and outbrake yourself. Always better to get the exits right in this Valkyrie. So we go through here, we go up to 4th gear, and we can instantly go on the overtake button in 4th gear because we won't have as much wheel spin, and then we're on the overtake button. So we go to 5th gear, we release the overtake button, and then at the end of the tarmac on the right side, or where the red thing is there, I don't even know what you call that, this is our brake marker for the left-hander. You're going to drop down to 4th gear for this one. What you will experience is this car trying to sort of shimmy the rear end round. It's very odd. I can't explain how this car handles, but it does happen here, and the only way to stop it is to go on throttle. So we accelerate through this corner. It does have a lot of downforce, but it does pick up here. We head towards Tete Rouge. Now, on the right side, the grass starts to veer away from the tarmac. This is your dab the brakes and chuck the car in. Once again, when you dab the brakes and chuck the car in, it'll just rotate in a very odd way. I can't explain it. It should show it in this lap as well, but dab the brakes, chuck the car in, cut the inside, and then accelerate through the corner. Now this, on bumper cam, is the car is a lot wider than what bumper cam perceives, so you can cut quite a bit more than you realise. Now, I will use the overtake button all the way to 218 miles an hour on this first part of the Mulsanne, so I've just pointed that out there. 218, I then release the overtake button. We then get to the end of the catch fence on the left-hand side. This is your brake marker for the first chicane. Now, you're going to hit the brakes, going to drop down to 4th gear. You want to be on 4th gear on the exits of this corner as well. Remember what I said earlier on in the lap? It's slow in, fast out. That's what you're aiming to do in this Valkyrie, okay? So we go into the brake, 4th gear, start to release brakes as we turn in. We're going to dab the brakes again, over towards the left. We can go on throttle now just to stabilize the exits on the overtake button. Just be careful if you mount the curb there using the overtake button. Now, we use the overtake all the way up to 210 miles an hour. Then I release. I went a bit further then, but 210 is your goal level because we're already approaching the next braking zone. No point wasting that overtake button. Now, your next brake markers are either 200 board on the right, or alternatively, you can just see those tree trunks in the distance. It's between these two, okay, in reality, for last of the late breakers, in between these two. You're going to hit the brakes and you're going to drop down to 4th gear. Once again, you want to go slow in, fast out. So you're really going to cut the inside here to prepare yourself for the rights. That's what we do here. We cut on the inside. We start to accelerate. Instantly on the overtake button again as we continue on out of here. You don't have to be as careful on the exit there. You won't get as much wheel spin. 210 miles an hour on the overtake button, and that's when we release it as we're already approaching the next braking zone, which is Mulsanne corner. So on the left there, we got the 100 board. We brake just after this on the left-hand side. You brake just after it. You're going to drop down towards 3rd gear. I may drop to 2nd on this particular lap, but 3rd gear is all you need for this corner. You do not need to drop to 2nd gear. So that's what we're going to do now. Brake in a straight line all the way down. 3rd gear. Yeah, do drop 2nd, but then go to 3rd. You want to be a 3rd on the exits. Just be careful on the exit. If you do use overtake button, you will suffer some wheel spin. Now, this is a longer acceleration period to 218 miles an hour on the overtake, and then you start to release it here as we head towards Indianapolis. Now, I'm going to get this corner slightly wrong, so just bear with me as I describe this. Yes, it's still a very fast lap, but there are improvements definitely in this corner. So 100 board on the left. This is your brake mark. I want you to go hard on the brakes. At least drop 1 gear for this corner. Critically for this one, you have to be slowing the car down before the end of this on the right side. If you're not, you're going to go a little bit too deep, as I do right there. A bit too deep, but we managed to bring it back. I lose 2 or 3 temps there straight off the bat. We're going to continue on now towards Arnage. Now, the second Gantt sign on the right, the middle one, is your brake marker. If you've done Indianapolis perfectly, you're going to brake a little bit earlier than this. This is your brake marker, though. It's a reference. You're going to hit the brakes. You don't have to drop to 2nd gear for this one. You could do this corner in 3rd gear, and you should be absolutely fine. So I dropped to 2nd, but don't worry about that. 3rd gear on the exits as well. Just be careful pressing the overtake button as you release it. As you exit that corner, you may suffer some wheel spin in 3rd gear. Now we're going to use the overtake button all the way to the Porsche curves. I can't remember exactly. I think it was around 200 miles an hour. I would stop. There we go. 208 miles an hour in terms of speed. I couldn't remember that one, but you saw it right there. So on the right side, we've got the orange painted barrier. This is dab the brakes, or go on the brakes actually. It's not dab, it's more of a hard braking. We'll drop to 5th gear, but we want to then go on throttle to stop the weird flingy flickeriness of the Valkyrie, okay? So we go on the brakes, 5th gear, we release the brakes, and now notice there we're on throttle straight away. That's to avoid the car just going all over the place with its jankiness. We stay on throttle through the left-hander, lift off a little bit. We get to this point here with grass and tarmac. So we're going to hit the brakes and drop to 4th gear as we go into this right-hander. Once again, you may suffer that flickiness that this Valkyrie has. As I say, it's so bizarre. I don't quite get it. It feels like the physics of Gran Turismo can't handle this car when driving it. But even so, here we are. So 4th gear. Again, trying to go on throttle to avoid some of the flickiness. We get to this point here. I've got up to 5th gear. Mistake. Stay in 4th gear for this one. Use that RWC sign on the right side. Turn in, but stay a little bit on throttle like I'm doing in 5th gear, but do it in 4th gear. Much more acceleration in 4th gear on the exit, this one. So go to 4th. Do not do it in 5th. 5th gives you a lot of stability, as you're seeing right there. If you want to use it, so be it. Then the overtake button now until it literally runs out of energy. as we head towards the chicanes here. On the right side, we've got the dark grey into lighter grey. You're braking just before that transition on the right-hand side. Now, you do have to be careful about cutting the chicanes here, so it's better to brake a bit early here just to make sure you finish the lap strong, because you've been on a strong lap if you're at this point. So you're going to hit the brakes, going to drop to third gear. Remember, bumper cam feels narrower than the car actually is, so you can cut quite a bit here. As we get to this point here, we need to brake before we get to that curb, and we need to start turning before we get to that curb. Now, the exit of this corner, you could do in fourth gear for stability or third gear for maximum acceleration. If you're at the end of a lap, I would recommend doing fourth gear here just to make sure you finish the lap. I'd hate for you to spin on the exit because you just... you're on a fantastic lap, but you just spin out. It would just be dreadful. I do the same there. 312.9, as you see right there. That lap guide was brought to you by Coach Dave Academy and the Delta app, so make sure you do check that out in the description and the pinned comment. We're in Daily Race B here then, where we're at Brands Hatch GP circuit in Group 3 machinery, and we're doing 6 laps here on custom Slipstream. Rolling start, racing hard tyres, tyres well fueled tyre wear, and as I say, Group 3 bop is on. You can adjust that brake balance, and you can see that I chose the Ferrari 296 GT3 because of what we discovered in the car profiles. Now, in terms of the key statistics then, we've used this track 13 times. Wow! 16th overall, 3 times track car combo for this one, 45th overall with that one, last used on the 15th of September 2025. Overtaking can be difficult here due to the layouts. I call it the mini Nürburgring or the British Nürburgring. Curbs and bumps can cause issues here as well. Some of the curbs can chuck you off, and there are some bumps in the middle of the corners which can throw you out, especially on some exits as well, actually. I'll say I chose the Ferrari 296 because of the recent car profiles. Let's jump into this daily race and let's have a look exactly what happens. Right, here we are then at the start of Daily Race B. Porsche 911 GT3R with Tom Check in pole position there. And if you are enjoying this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the hype button if it's available to you. I'm using +3 brake belts here in the Ferrari 296 GT3 car. You can see that on the bottom right side. And remember, I chose that because of the car profiles. Make sure you do check that out at the end of this video, because that car, well, it's stronger than I realised. In towards the left-hander we go then. We've caught up to everybody now with the rolling starts being larger than normal. We continue on out of here. Lots of side-by-side action up ahead. As you see, Matt's Power right behind Black Vapor Racing. Now, not to read on our left-hand side. I assume you're from Greenland based on the chat this morning. So, I mean, fair play to you as we go into this right-hander. We don't see many people from Greenland as we go through that right-hander. Up to P11 we go. They did back out of that one, although I would have given lots of room on that outside if you wanted to stay there. Through the right we go then. Matt's Power gets on the inside of Black Vapor Racing, and we're going to try and follow suit there. This is going to be very difficult to do. Very hard to go side by side through here, and we get the job done then. Happy days indeed. A little bit of a wiggle on the exit though in this Ferrari 296 GT3 car, and we got somebody off the circuit there as we go through up into P9 then. So we made quite a few positions here as we head towards lap number 3 now, and Matt's Power on the inside of the Silent Racer, also with the 296 here. Gets that job done beautifully there, does Matt's Power. We're looking to go on the inside as we head towards Druid's End. As we go onto the brakes, are we going to get this done? Is the question. We do get it stopped on the inside. Here we go. Looking to accelerate out. Go to second gear to avoid some of the stability issues there. And we continue on through. I think a Silent Racer didn't expect me to accelerate quite as slow out of Druid's there. Right, lap number 4, here we go then. Of course, up to the next pack now. Me and Matt's Power working our way through the field here. Then Radeon goes a bit wide there in that Subaru BRZ. Not a car I'd want to use here on the Racing Hard tyre, that is for sure. As we go onto the brakes, in towards the left we go. Looking to try and get a really good acceleration out of this corner. And we know that BRZ, not strong in a straight line. It's all about fast corners for that BRZ. We go towards the left-hand side here to try and use the Slipstream here, and Radeon just backs out of that one then. So I appreciate that one. You don't have to do that, of course. And I'm going to put my thumbs up to also say thank you for that one as well. There you go. Thumbs up from me. Right, we're going to head towards the final lap here then. So we've got Sparks Fury up ahead. We've got an Austrian driver. I can't quite see their name here. And we've got Max Power, of course, who we've been followed the entire race then as we continue on through here. Max Power goes a little bit wide there at Paddock Hill. In towards the braking zone we go at Druid's End on the inside of Max Power right now, looking to accelerate out of this corner. Yes, we've got the position. Up to P6 we go then. Max Power looking on the outside of me then for Graham Hill as we go through the left-hander. We just give Max Power enough room there. You could use the curb. It's absolutely fine. We stay in P6 now as we head towards the left-hander here, slowing it down. Max Power looking around the outside. Is it going to work? Is the question. Not quite here as we get on to Hawthorns then. And look at this. Max Power on the left-hand side using that Slipstream that I used earlier on Radeon UK. You can see my face there smiling as Max Power tries around the outside. I'm going to try and keep it here though. Max Power tries to carry the speed. No, doesn't quite work. Not on the grippy line here. Still side by side as we head towards that right-hander. On the brakes we go. We go through here and I just get the curb slightly wrong. Max Power goes for that cutback. Beautiful move there from Max Power. Really well played indeed as we go onto the brakes for the next right-hander. We clip the inside, continuing on through here, looking for our braking zone and the marshals. Over towards the left we go there. So I'm down to P7 right now, but I'm not giving up here. My whole goal here is about the last corner. If I nail this right, I can get a good run on Max Power. That was my goal. In towards the right we go. Max Power runs a little bit wide there. Up ahead, the Austrian goes a bit sideways. Max Power runs too wide there onto the grass. Manages to recover it a little bit. No, still on the grass. And we go to P6, nearly into P5. All said and done here in that Ferrari 296 GT3 car at Brands Hatch. Now, as I say, you saw quite a few overtakes there, but that's because the speed difference was quite large. I've also adjusted the score for this race slightly. I got it wrong in my short, and all the details for that are down below in the pinned comment, of course. Right, here's a lap guide brought to you by Coach Dave Academy and the Delta app. Make sure you do check that out in the description and the pinned comment. As we head towards turn number 1 then, though, your brake marker on the left-hand side, the 2 board. Really obvious, really clear. Now, I'm in the Porsche 911 GT3R for this particular lap. Why, are you wondering? Well, it is a bit more consistent, which is why I chose it to make sure I get the lap guide for you guys. As I assume most of you want to use the Porsche and not the Ferrari. In towards the right we go, then we clip the curb as we continue on through here then and accelerate up. Use that compression, by the way. Accelerate through the compression. The car will turn as well. We get towards Druids then. On the left-hand side, we have the red painted barrier. Brake just before you get to that. You can see I've just gone on the brakes right now. And we're going to drop down to second gear. And in fact, I might even drop to first gear. I'll have to remember now as we go into this lap guide what I actually do here. But on the exit, you just have to be careful. First gear, yes. So then careful on the throttle as you come out of there because of that oversteer. You can short shift a second, which is where my confusion was coming from. Because that way you get stability, but you do lose a little bit of acceleration. Graham Hill, the green and the 1 board on the right-hand side here. You want to aim towards the curb. Try not to go on it up ahead to try and get the widest angle of attack. Now, you want to take a later apex here just to make sure that you go onto the curb on the exits and don't mount it too early. If you mount it too early, you end up getting a whole load of oversteer due to the hard tyres. So you do have to be careful on that one. We head towards the 1 board and the green part on the right hand side. So for this corner, take a wider line. It's very easy to say, oh, I'll take a tighter line. My optimum comes down. But the tighter line gives you a really bad exit for the straight. You don't want that. A wider line, middle approach to wide line is better. Okay, so you're going to hit the brakes, going to trail brake then in second gear. Notice how I'm trying to come back. As I get closer towards that white line, that's when I start to accelerate then as we continue on to the straight. Now, we've got the bridge coming up here. This is a time reference point for me. So if you're anywhere near 40 seconds underneath this bridge, you're doing absolutely fine. Now, we approach Hawthorns here. On the right side there, we've got the red painted barrier here. What you're going to do is you're going to dab the brakes and shut the car in. Now, as you do that, you're trying to use as much of the downforce as possible to keep the car turning in. If you overslow for this corner, you can't take it as quick. It's one of those where you have to have trust in the car, okay? So I'm going to hit the brakes, drop to third gear. I get the car turned in, I clip the curb, and then I just accelerate out the corner. Just be careful that curb shrinking there on the exit because that can force you to spear off to the right if you're on the grass. Next painted barrier on the left-hand side. We're braking just before we get to that again. What I want you to do here is turn in, but really mount the curb on the inside. And you have to have trust the car is going to stick, okay? Have trust it will stick and you'll be absolutely fine. So that's what I do here. I clip the curb and then I accelerate through the corner then. I could have done that a bit more aggressively in my opinion and get a bit more lap time. Through Diggle Dell we go. On the right side then, the 1 board here. This is our brake marker. We're going to hit the brakes. And what we want to do is just let the car roll a little bit towards the inside. We want to make sure we really do cut a little bit of the inside curb here to make sure we get round. If you don't do this, it becomes a significant issue. So, what we do, hit the brakes, turn in, notice how much we cut, we then start accelerating. Notice there, if I don't cut it as much, I run wide, and that's the issue. If you run wide there, you're on the grass, you can't prep yourself for this left-hander. On the right side here, we've got the catch threads and the marshals down the right side. This is our brake marker for the left-hander. You're going to hit the brakes, drop to second gear, turn in. This is a cambered corner, which means you really want to get on the inside as much as possible here, and that will benefit you in terms of carrying the speed. You can run wide on the exit, just be careful of the grass once again, firing you off as that curb shrinks. We're going to head towards the final corner now. On the left-hand side, we have this green end of the barrier there on the left-hand side. This is your brake marker. What you do is hit the brakes, drop to third gear, and then chuck the car in and let the car roll a little bit because it's going to lift a little bit in terms of the whole weight with the way it goes over the crest of the hill. Then start to accelerate. Watch what I do now. It goes over the crest of the hill. Now I can start accelerating because we're going downhill again. Head over towards the right-hand side. Stay towards the right for the quicker lap. Here, I was going on to the next one, not realizing this was a 23.959. That's it for Daily Race B. Then we jump to Daily Race C here, where we're at Yamagiwa in reverse in Group 4 machinery. And I chose the GT by Citroen race car right there. 15 laps for this one. Custom slipstream, rolling start, racing medium tyres. And you do have to pit at least once. Times 3 fuel, times 4 tyre wear. And of course, Boppy's on here. But you can adjust the brake balance if you so choose. Now, the GT by Citroen race car looking very strong here due to its handling and high-speed capabilities, so I do expect that to be the meta car here this week. Now, in terms of key statistics then, we have used this track twice. And that is it, which is crazy to me. Track car combo once, and it's definitely not in the top 10 used combo. Last used it on the 3rd of July, 2023. Nearly 3 years ago. That is mental. There are 2 issues here. Well, there's more than 2 issues, but the 2 issues I've identified. 2 chicanes that are very dangerous. They are both dangerous, and track limit penalties are on. And the S's downhill can be dangerous. If you get them slightly wrong, you can have a big crash. Without further ado, then, let's jump into this daily race, which is the 2nd of the day, and let's have a look at how much carnage actually happens. Right, here we are then at the start of this one. We got Arc in pole position, Sparked in P2. We're starting down in P15. Once again, if you are enjoying this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the hype button if it's available to you. We've got somebody there not starting there in Maverick. We're using +5 brake belts here in the GT by Citroen race car. And on the left-hand side there, we've got somebody else slowing down at the start of this race. We've gained 2 positions already, and the race has hardly started. As we go through turn 1, we'll fast forward the bits that are boring, and we'll get to the bits that are entertaining in this daily race, which is also significant in length there. 15 laps. It's quite a distance, and you'll see that a bit later on. So we get a track limit penalty there from the chicane. That's one I talked about here. There are 2 dangerous chicanes. That's one of them. And we got a track limit penalty just running a little bit too wide. Going through here, though, we've got a car ghost on our right. Then everybody sort of went into the back of each other. We're going to check out the bloopers for this one. But we gained 2 positions and a bit of damage from that incident as we head down the hill and into the chicane. Tom there gave me a boost. I appreciate that one. So in towards the braking zone we go, over towards the left. You got to be careful on the right then as we continue on through here. Very easy to spin out if you touch the grass like Sobrick there did up ahead. Now, I had a choice here between Luke and Sobrick. I went for Sobrick because the GT by Citroen race car is so much stronger than the Supra here. So I went towards the left-hand side there for the bump draft. And arguably, with a penalty, if I could get ahead of Luke, then at least I can stay with Luke once I take that penalty. That was the philosophy and my mindset behind updrafting Sobrick up ahead. Let's see if that plays out then as we go down the S's in towards the right-hander. We continue on through there. We're going to get to that penalty line. We take the penalty, and Luke is going to go by. But again, we're in that target range there where we can actually have an opportunity to overtake again. So heading towards the chicane here. Are we going to get it right this time is the question. In towards the right we go. We clip it. We continue on through. We just get it right there. And Luke goes defensive on that right-hand side in the 7-Up Supra. And we're going to go towards the left-hand side. Going to try around the outside here at the hairpin. But that is so hard to do. So that doesn't quite work here as we accelerate out. Now, we're alongside Luke here, but I would always go make the lead car go. It's one of those situations where side-by-side in the chicane does not work. It really doesn't. More than likely going to crash. So let them go and fight another day, especially this early on in the race, in my opinion. So that's what I do as we continue on through. Luke goes wide there at the exit. That gives us a massive run here up the hill. We're going to go towards the inside line here of Luke now. Last time we went around the outside. This time on the inside as we go into the braking zone, which is not normally there. I have the brake because I'm on the inside there, but we continue on through up into P10. Now, I'll go through a lap guide to explain the braking zones, non-braking zones, etc. at the end of the race. Don't worry, just stay with us for that one. So through the right we go, then we get an absolutely fantastic run there. So brake went a little bit wide through the chicane. We're going to get on the inside here. You see, this is one of my strengths at this daily race then as we go onto the brakes, slowing it down. Do we get it stopped? We do. So brake looking to try and get in behind me. We're up to P9 then, all said and done here as we continue on out of there. And we are looking to catch the leaders here, which would be nice, to be honest with you. It'd be nice if we had a chance at the race victory. We go down here then, and this is what you have to also be cautious about. Okay, people take the chicane very differently, especially at the start of the week. So you may get nudges from behind. It is not intentional most of the time, okay? It'll be a case of people doing it differently, so just be careful of that. I had to make an adjustment there, but it still worked out absolutely fine. Through the chicane we go, and unfortunately, you may have noticed I did the exact same mistake as lap number 1, and we are going to be getting a 0.5 second penalty there, running a bit too deep. See there where we're very much purple, which you could say is track limits issues, but it's not. Trust me, I was very much up there in terms of pace. As we continue on through here then, Frank goes all 4 wheels off, and then Frank goes and visits the barrier there. So we go up to P7, and up ahead we've got Hamsty in the GT by Citroen car then. As we head down the hill, the S's can be dangerous. Here's why then. As we go to the left, Hamsty gets it all wrong, hits the barrier. Nowhere to really go there in terms of that. I was hoping the ghosting would come into play there as well. So yeah, I unfortunately get damage and a penalty, which I didn't realise initially, and a second penalty there for hitting a car that had already crashed. Thanks, game. That really does make a lot of sense. Nah. Right, anyway, we've got a penalty. We have to take it. And that's what we do. We're going to head to the right side. You can see there, me realizing I got 1 second penalty for that one. Now, Hamsy's going to wait up here. Unfortunately, that causes a crash with Tom there. Not sure what was going on here, but even so, Hamsy's going to wait up for me there. I appreciate it. I don't think you had to wait up, to be honest with you, because it's more of a crash, and you can't really do much about your own crash. It's not like you're actually purposely punting me off. So, for me, you didn't have to wait up there, to be honest with you. I'm going to continue on through there. To lap number 6. This is where you see your first pit stoppers. So, Luke goes in the pits then. Quite an early pit stop, to be honest with you. It can work, especially if you're stuck in traffic. We go to lap number 7. This is where the majority of pit stops going to happen. Why lap 7? Because your car weighs less, so you could do 8 laps then on the mediums later on, and what effectively would then be like 7 laps as we continue on out here. There's Luke. I did actually do a very good finishing lap there in terms of coming in the pits in lap number 8. We've got 2 more people in the pits in Tom, and I think Spam there up ahead came in the pits. So you're seeing there different people do different things. A little bit of strategy, not much, because you can't come in before lap 6 really, and coming in after lap 8 is a bit dangerous as well, to be honest with you, just losing time for no reason whatsoever. But lap number 10 now in terms of the race. So you can see here we've caught up to the pack, down to 4 seconds to the lead, by the way. Notice how much time we've gained here. 141.8, a fastest lap as well. I kind of was pleased with that lap, to be honest with you, first thing this morning as we got onto the break. So what I'm trying to do here is get a run through the chicane, like you saw me do earlier on. The chicanes are really good places to make overtakes because you just need to run through them because they're so hard to do to be able to make that overtake. Now, Spam came in a lap later than me in terms of pits, so has a lap fresher tyres, but arguably at times 4 is 4 lap fresher tyres. So it's going to be much harder to overtake Spam than other people, but I still can do this if I get this right. And that's the plan here. So lap number 11, we head towards the chicane once again. I'm just backing out of this a little bit, trying to get the run through the chicane. Here we go then. Notice I've got the run this time then. We're going to head over towards the right-hand side. Luke up ahead will be suffering with those tyres then as we go onto the brakes. Onto the brakes we go. Now, because Spam hits Luke there a little bit, that forces him to turn into me there. So that's just a mistake all said and done in terms of the whole physics working. But nobody loses out on a position, so we carry on there all the same. I'm going to head down towards the chicane though then. Spam still looking for a place past Luke as we go onto the brakes. And again, trying to go for the run out of the chicane. Do we get it this time? Not quite. Luke's gone off the circuit though. Does bring it back on. Very well indeed. Very hard to recover that kind of accident there. But Luke manages to do it as we head towards the right-hander then. We are going up into P6 as we slow the car down now. And we're still behind Spam. 3 seconds off the lead, even with his fighting. We still have a chance at the race victory here, which I was very pleased with indeed. Lap number 12 then, still 3 seconds down here then, so we didn't gain much on that lap. Spam goes for the overtake on Mario Sonic as we go into the S's. Again, a dangerous place to go side by side, so I think Mario Sonic gave that up once Spam was side by side with them. As we look towards the final corner here, we go onto the brakes then, and there's a slight bit of contact there, nothing major. I was expecting Mario to come in as much as he did there, so I would have given that position back because I did touch Mario Sonic, but it was just a bit of a weird situation there in terms of that one. So we head on to lap 13. Notice the gap now, 2.5 seconds to the leader. So we're still catching up as we go into the chicane. We're going to exit the chicane then. We get a good run here as we head towards the hairpin. Under 2.5 seconds now to that race lead as we go onto the brakes. Trying around the outside again. Do we get it stopped? We do. Is it going to work is the question. Oh, go for the cutback. But once again, remember what I said earlier on. Side by side at the chicane. Not worth it. Trust me, it is not worth it. So I'm going to back out of this one there. Slight lift, just to allow Mario Sonic to go then as we go down here. Let's look for the exit. That's what I'm trying to do then. So over towards the left, then carry speed through the right. But I get it slightly wrong that time. Had to just adjust my speed slightly there. Mario Sonic whacks the hazards on. I assume to say thank you for backing out of that. I'm not too sure. But we're going for a bit of bump drafting here as well because I don't want to lose touch with the leaders here. 2.5 seconds, all said and done here. We have a chance at the race victory. Now, I wasn't expecting braking there. That did throw me off a little bit, but I made an adjustment there as we continue towards the final corner. And we're going to go on the brakes right now. Sparks Fury out wide there. 0.5 second penalty for Sparks there as well. Spams up into P3, who I'm looking ahead for because, of course, we were right behind them earlier on. That lap fresher tyres shows you how much it helps here because he's able to make more overtakes much easier than I'm making the overtakes. Now, we go to the right side here to stay in the slipstream of Sparks up ahead as we head towards turn 1. Onto the brakes we go. Trying around the outside. Does it work is the question. Oh, it's going to be tight. We still, I think that's very kind of Mario Sonic to leave some space there. I don't think he had to, but had to make sure, obviously, I wasn't there as we get on the inside for this chicane. We look to slow it down. Do we get it stopped? Yes, we do. Just then. So we go up into P5. Sparks has that penalty, so that will be P4 as long as we stay with Sparks then as we head down here. Now, as we go through here, you're going to see me get a run on Sparks. Why do I go for the overtake? Well, I go for the overtake here because Mario Sonic had to hit the brakes in the Megad Trophy. Now, if that's a car-related issue in the S's, in terms of hitting the brakes, I don't want to be behind that because I can carry much more speed. So I go for the overtake, which is why I'm now in P number 4. So we head towards the chicane once again for the final time here. Lap number 15. Onto the brakes we go. We're right behind Spam once again as we go through this right-hander. Spam slowed it down just enough there where I couldn't get the run. Unfortunately, somebody else goes off there, Brigitte, and we up into P3. We're on the podium right now. Still looking for the move on Spam here. Looks like the win is out of touch right now as Ark has kept that gap of 2.5 seconds here. As we go into the fast right-hander, drop to 4th gear, just get the car rotated a bit more. You can see that tyre wear down in the bottom left-hand side. It's really well nuked, but it shows you can do a lap earlier to avoid the traffic. You definitely can do that. As we head to the downhill of the S's now then, just be careful as we go down here because it's harder to see when you're behind somebody. Over towards the left-hand side we go. We've got the run here as we head towards the final corner. Looking on the inside. Do we get it? No. Spam defends that beautifully. What a beautiful defensive move that is. Just carrying enough speed there to stay in front as we go on to the start-finish straight. We are going to come home in P3 there. Brilliant race with Spam, but it shows you one lap, fresher tyres is significant if you're in terms of wanting to make those places. So you might want to delay it till lap 8 if you want that strategy. So a bit of strategy there, not too much, but enough where it does count a little bit. Now, in terms of the points, well, let's have a look at what I gave this race then. So it's been adjusted down to 7 out of 10 for this one, okay? The reason it's adjusted is down below in the pinned comments. You can see all the details down there as well. Let's jump to the lap guide then, brought to you by Coach Dave Academy and the Delta app. Again, make sure you do check out the Delta app in the description. Really useful tool, highly recommend it. I use it all of the time. We head towards turn number 1 then, and your first brake marker is on the left hand side there. So we've got this dark patch and then the orange barrier as well. So this is your brake marker. I want you to hit the brakes and aim towards the corner a little bit. So you're going to brake in sort of by diagonal, and as you get closer to the corner, you'll start to release the brakes. You're just going to trail brake the last little bit. So notice that I aim towards the corner, and second gear, I start to release the brakes. Once I clip the curb, that's when I want to accelerate. I got a bit risky there and did it a little bit earlier, but for you, just make sure you clip the curb, then accelerate out. Now, the chicane, this is one where you can gain so much time. So the 50 board in the white line on the left hand side is your brake marker. You're going to drop down to 4th gear. I want you to chuck the car in, okay? Now, you may suffer some oversteer on the exit, but you can catch this oversteer. I caused it loads of times. But as you turn in, you're going to mount the curb on the inside and really try and maximize the width of the circuit. Just say I had a little bit of oversteer, very easy catchable. Just make sure you hit the curb on the exit. Otherwise, you get a track limit penalty like I showed in the race. Right, next, a braking marker then. So we've got the start of the curb. It's after that. Arguably, it's bang where that 50 board is in terms of the white line. You're going to hit the brakes. Now, I highly recommend a wider angle of attack for this one. It's very easy to go a bit too tight here and just have to delay the throttle. So if you go for a wider line, you can get towards the inside and just carry so much more speed on the exit. And because you have quite a bit of an acceleration period here, well worthwhile doing. As we go down here, then we stick as far left as possible. We're then going to turn into the right-hander here. And we're going to get to this point here where the arm code goes from silver to yellow. This is your lift-off marker. You can see I just started lifting off right now. You can't really hit the brakes just yet because you'll get loads of weight transfer issues. But what you are going to do is as you get straight here, you're going to hit the brakes hard. Now, you want to make sure you slow down enough for this left, then allow you to carry the speed for the right. I'm aiming for 90 miles an hour all the way through there. So if you want the speed to aim for, 90. But notice that how I hit the brakes quite hard, slow down for the left, and then allow myself to run through the right. We're going to get to this fast right-hander, which is lift off. Lift off, let the car turn in. Now, when you get to 107 miles an hour, start accelerating. Hopefully, you get towards that curb as well, and you can continue on through. Notice that I didn't brake. You do not have to brake for that corner. You're looking to try and carry as much speed as possible. Going to head down the S's now. This is all flat out. Just make sure as you turn in, you are mounting these curbs. Over towards the right you go, then towards the left. Don't mount the start of that curb. Make sure the curb has already started before you touch it. We get to this point here where we have the 50 board. Now, this is your brake marker. You brake just before you get to this. You want a middle of the road approach for this one. Middle of the track for the first part of this corner. And then you're going to come in tight for the end of it. The reason for that, if you come in tight straight away, you're going to understeer off wide there. So we started middle, just on the inside of the middle here. Notice I had to adjust my throttle a little bit. What I'm looking for is these billboards at the exits there. So when I start to see them, I'm looking to accelerate. I can see them now, so I start to accelerate. Hopefully, the car's going to keep turning in. The curbs are quite grippy here at Yamagiwa Reverse. So once you clip the curb, you should know you're going to make it. And there, I'm on and off the throttle to make sure I clip the curb as we continue on through. I'm on and off the throttle because I took a slightly tighter line. If it was more in the middle of the road, I'd have been fine. That's a 140.742 though at Yamagiwa Reverse in the GT by Slipstream race car. in the bloopers end. So we're in the Aston Martin Valkyrie there. There's a slight tap, and then obviously, as I say, once you go sideways in the braking zone, you ain't stopping this car, as demonstrated there by Stefan, as Stefan goes to the back of the pack. Now, this is an interesting one. Look at this. So, we've got the Italian there, looking to go on the inside here, and Marisonic went defensive there. They go sort of off circuit, and I thought nothing of this one, but they continue on here, and they get resets all the way back. That is a brutal reset, to be honest with you. I feel like a penalty would be better there, Gran Turismo, not a reset. We've got Borden Melen, the Greek driver, and they're just going to get the braking all sorts of wrong here into Mario Sonic. There you go. Now, they do get a penalty for this one, which is fair enough, in my opinion. You have impacted Mario Sonic. They get a 4-second penalty, which you can see right there. We're going to jump to Daily Race B now then. So what happened here with H as we continue on through the right-hander? We're going to head towards the left now then. On the brakes we go. And they go absolutely fine. I could not tell. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump back to Norman then, because Norman is the car behind. And let's have a look from Norman's perspective here then. So on the brakes we go. Through the right. Look at H up ahead. Onto the brakes we go. And, well, H had a weird server issue. And H goes flying. That's unfortunate, H. Sorry to see that. As we jump to Daily Race C then. El Diablo race. What happened into this corner then? So Diablo looking to accelerate. Goes into the back of Castro then. Looks to wait up then. And then everybody goes into the back of each other. And that's how that ended up like that. That's going to be it for this video though, folks. I do hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, like, subscribe, hit the hype button. And there are 2 videos there to check out, including the car profiles with that Ferrari 296 GT3. Make sure you do check out my partners down below, including Coach Dave Academy, who have partnered with me with this video. Once again, a massive thank you for your support, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.